Hey, what is going on, everybody? Ryan Leary, William Tincup here with the BARF. This is the look at the week that was, so you can be prepared for the week that is. Mr. William, it is frigid here in Philadelphia. How are you?
It is not frigid here in Texas. So I am doing well, and I'm looking forward to this barf because I think we have some really, really cool stories.
We've got a lot. There's no doubt about it. So we're post Thanksgiving.
Yep,
We are back at it, and so we're gonna kind of mesh 2 weeks into
yep,
one and
yep.
make everybody smarter. So let's do it. You ready?
That's the hope. Yes,
That's the hope. Well, it
that's
could
the hope.
make them stupider, but
That's it. Dumber, but yes.
yeah, not the goal. Probably going to happen. All right, let's start
Is
off with
is
Ohio State.
is stupider a word?
No, it's not.
Okay,
That's
I
why I
just
said
wanted
it.
to. I just
That's why I said it.
I
All
was
right.
questioning myself actually. I
No,
wasn't questioning you.
yeah.
I'm like,
I mean, it
okay,
could be a word. I mean, it makes sense to be a word, but I don't think it is a
let's
word.
make it a word. Go ahead.
We'll
Sorry.
make you stupider. Okay. Ohio State revert. We talked about the overtime wages, right? A couple of times now, where the threshold was being increased, so on and so forth. Well, thank you to the judge out in Texas. We talked about this a few weeks back. They reversed that. And now Ohio State is reversing the raises after the overtime rule was overturned. Now, here's the deal with this. They're not just saying, "Oh, we're not going to do it." 306 employees over the last 2 months have
Mm,
received overtime wages because now they meet the threshold. That's $2 million in raises. We'll call it raises. That's how they refer to it.
I'm down with that.
$2 million over 2 months for 306 people. Ohio State is getting rid of that. They're reversing that. They're not taking their money back. They're keeping the money, but starting in January 2025, they no longer are
Mm,
eligible for the overtime that they received. And so
it's
I'm not
horrible.
sure how I feel about this, man.
No, it's horrible. First
Yeah.
of all, for the audience, it's the Ohio State University. So when Ryan says Ohio State, he's not saying the
Yeah.
state of Ohio,
The
the
Ohio State.
Ohio State. Their football program brings in hundreds of millions of dollars.
A week.
So what, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
and it costs money. I get that. I do understand that. However, dude, seriously, 2 million? That's a rounding error.
306
I mean,
employees
that
losing overtime. And maybe it'll go back. Now, I don't think the university should be held accountable to pay overtime because of this.
right,
That's not what I'm saying.
right.
But that's just a shitty situation. It
Yeah.
sucks. It's in the news. And I think this is going to happen, moving
Oh yeah.
forward.
New post January, whatever, 21st or whenever they inaugurate, there's going to be a lot of that. All right, Ryan, let me throw this one past you. 7% of hybrid employees feel less trusted according to International Workplace Group survey. So this is on benefitspro.com, so you can take that out or take a look at that. So this breaks my heart. I think the number is right and it kills me because we all went through the pandemic together. I'm worried, as I've said to you a couple times, I worry that we're creating a caste system whereas 9 to 5ers kind of get full benefits, kind of get 100%.
Hmm. Hmm.
Flex, they're not quite treated as like 9 to 5ers, and so they get maybe 80%. And remote workers, they're about half, so they get about 50%. That's rights, it's privileges, promotions, it's the whole bit. And for the audience, when the Constitution was written, one of the things that they had the North and Southern states had to agree upon was African American. They didn't call them African American, blacks, being whole human beings
Right.
and being able to vote as whole human beings, which would give the South at that time, which would give the South a majority of voting. So they basically the South would just be able to vote on whatever the hell they wanted to because they would actually empower at that time. They would have empowered blacks to vote and then manipulated them to vote for whatever they care about. So they threw in 3/5, and that didn't stop. Hell, somebody don't think it stopped it at now, but that didn't really stop until Jim Crow. Jim Crow, that was early this last century, like less than 100
Hmm.
years ago. So history repeats itself, whether or not we like it or not. This is, to me, this is what this looks like, is that we will, whether or not they'll say it or write it in policy, but I think the treatment, and that's why this number stuck out to me, is because they feel less trusted.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see more of that
Mm.
type of behavior, like those types of stats from those types of classes of employees. I hope I'm wrong. I do. I actually hope I'm wrong on this one, but I don't think I am. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Target
Mm,
was ruled that it must face shareholder lawsuit over their pride backlash. So if you remember
yeah.
some time ago, they had a whole line of merchandise
Yeah.
and they faced a lot of backlash from customers in certain areas. And so a Florida judge ruled that Target must face a lawsuit from shareholders who allege the company misled them about the risk tied to the LGBTQ plus Pride Month merchandise that it had throughout its stores. And so this is how I haven't even thought about this myself. I look at it as it's merchandise, as the company selling merchandise. Anyhow, the shareholders are arguing that Target's management didn't properly consider the possible negative reactions from customers to its support of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. So it's interesting to me, right? And I think this ties into what we're seeing, obviously, with these programs at organizations now being removed or reworked in a way, you know, what they feel fits them better. But you and I talked about this.
Yep.
I think it was with Tractor Supply, where it was,
Yep.
well, their particular customer base is they're very pointed.
The
They
diff
know exactly what they
Yeah,
want. They come from a very specific
the
area.
difference between these two is stark though, Ryan. Harley Davidson, we go on with all the
Yeah,
folks that have ripped out DEI. Target's job, and all these folks, Harley's job and Tractor Supply's job is to move product. That's
correct.
the only reason that they're in
That's why they're in
business,
business.
is to move product. So really what this comes down to was, did that, I actually saw the section. I didn't take a picture of it, but I went to Target. I actually saw the section. It was merchandised really well.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
merchandise.
really, really, really well. So the question is, did the product move? If the product moved, shut the fuck up.
Well,
if the
that's
if the product didn't move and you lost customers because of that product, yeah, fair enough. But
right.
this is share at its worst,
Yeah. Well,
because
in
these
this,
are
well,
just
because the
people that.
stock took a hit, they lost money
That's right.
because of this particular event, right?
That's right. That's right.
Anyhow, yeah, I just think it's interesting. It's all kind of tied together for
It
me.
is. It is. But
There
see,
you go.
Tractor Supply and Harley, they didn't put out rainbow, like Harley didn't have
No, no, no,
rainbow
no, 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 no.
motorcycle. That was corporate
Yeah,
initiatives.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, this is. I'm looking at it as it's the
Yeah.
same type of thing, right? Like it's just
People
this is
that hate
DEI
DEI
initiatives
hate
across the board.
DEI. Right.
They hate it. They hate it. There you go.
Hate. It's in your heart. All right. Let me throw this one past you. Vast majority, 91% of U.S. workers said they remain productive during the holiday season, with 61% saying their productivity surges at the end of the year, according to a straw poll by our friends at Monday.com. And it's a Google Doc, so you just have to reach out to me to get to it. And it was just kind of a straw poll. It had like 3 or 4 questions. It was kind of a funny bit. I think the numbers are right for this year. And I think that this is kind of according to the times. It's hard out there. Work still has to be done. Holidays, vacations, time away from work. I think now, at this moment, are seen as luxuries, which is counter to all the hoopla about employee wellness. So here we have everyone talking about employee wellness, well-being, mental health, here and that, and then you have employees working their asses off during the holidays. These two things can't coexist.
Yeah, why? When we
One
see
or the
that,
other.
because it's just a slowdown period for most companies, depending on what you're working in, and they look at it as a time. Hey, I can catch up. I can clean my inbox. I can
Right?
catch up on specific projects.
But
So
should they, just because you can, should you?
no, definitely not. You shouldn't. And well, at least I don't believe you should.
Right. Yeah, I got it.
But I think
Are you more productive at this time? I mean, let's just deal with this year. I mean, let's.
I am. I'm more productive, I think, and I think there's probably a couple of reasons why. One is you're coming off of Thanksgiving, you're in between Christmas and New Year's or whatever
Yeah.
holidays you celebrate, right? So that particular part of the year on slow, right? So you're able to focus, you're able to build and clean out and do whatever you need to do. Now, on top of that, the world has been built on New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
So
Which I
January
don't
1st is coming,
believe
right?
in, by the way.
What's that?
I don't believe in new resolutions.
But the world has been built on that, right? Like it's a
Yeah,
big
yeah, yeah,
thing, right?
yeah,
And so you know what?
yeah.
In 25, I'm gonna do this, and so in order to do this, I gotta do this. That makes
Right.
sense. Monday's putting it out for
Yeah, it
obvious
does.
reasons,
It does.
right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's yeah. I
Because
so I I,
they
I
can
could see it.
actually
Yeah,
see the analytics of productivity.
yeah. So
Yeah,
anywho, yeah,
that's a trip. All right,
love it.
brother.
All right, Apple faces another lawsuit from an employee alleging privacy
Mm-hmm.
violations. We've talked about this a number
Mm-hmm.
of times with different things, but essentially, they're saying that the Apple is invading the workers' privacy by requiring them to install software on personal devices used for work. So not just corporate devices, but personal devices. So if you're
Right.
using your your personal device for work related things, they want you to have this software on there. So it grants them access to
Yeah.
all of your personal data.
Yep.
And the other
Search
part of that
history, the
lawsuit,
whole bit. Yep.
yeah, and the other part of that lawsuit is the that it forbids them in their employment contract to talk about workplace conditions and pay and salary, which in California 100% is against the law. They can't do that. And secondly, it's not a federal law, but in most other states, it happens that way as well, where
Mm.
it's okay to talk. The employer cannot tell you not to. And
Well,
so,
even if they do, it just makes it forces you to talk about it. So
right,
it's
exactly.
yeah.
So there you
So
go. Yeah. So
so
it's there you go.
my bet is because I read the same story. It's what is your definition of surveillance versus your definition of data-driven decision making?
Mhm.
We're in a privacy war. We don't even know it. We've been in a privacy war for quite a while, and it comes down to how badly do you want your privacy? So Apple has kind of said this is how I would love to have a Samsung phone if I worked for Apple, just because I think it'd be funny. But it kind of comes down to if you want to work at Apple, then you have to play by their rules, meaning you subscribe to the theory, hey, listen, they're getting this data for good reasons with good intent to help them make good decisions. Okay, that's
I think it's the opposite way. I think they're surveilling to make sure they're not stealing things. I'm complete opposite on this one. Yeah, no, I 100%. What data are they collecting on me in the office? What, like how many fucking steps I take?
they
Come on.
dude, there's all kinds of cool stuff that they could be looking at.
Then they need to disclose 100% of what they're looking at.
But you know what I'm saying? There's employee listening tools out there that do just this. They look at your email, they look at your text, they look at this stuff
But
to
they're
then give
employee
them,
listening tools. It's not Apple
well,
saying,
this is a listening.
yeah.
This is not a listening tool. This is a listening program.
Hmm,
I mean, again, it's
yeah.
privacy. It comes down to kind
Hmm.
of what you think of privacy. And if you think the company has your best interest in their hearts, then it's like, cool.
Yeah.
If you
Now,
don't,
on a corporate device, I'm okay with that. But also on a corporate device,
personal,
you're able to use it for personal reasons.
right?
But you're on a corporate device. You can't take my phone and say, well, because you walked in my building.
Evidently, you can at Apple.
Well, yeah, no.
And this is your story.
Okay. So this past week, you've probably seen it
I
as
did.
well. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was fatally shot outside of a Manhattan hotel. Kind of a downer of a story, but I wanted to
Hmm.
throw it in there, not necessarily to break it down and talk about it, but it's kind of, for me, it was a somber reminder of how we overlook that, the how high profile leaders can become targets in a
Hmm.
polarized environment, whether it's elections,
Yep.
whether it's high profile CEOs, as in this case, right, where they're making decisions that affect real people in real lives. And sometimes people get to the breaking point, and they can't handle that, right? We've seen this a lot on I mean, Law and Order has tons of this
Yeah.
type of crap.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just a sad
Do
situation
you
all
do you
along.
think this was, and do you believe when you first read this, do you believe this is about compensation? That the compensation is 341% higher than the average
No,
comp per employee.
no,
So you don't
no,
believe in that comp.
no,
All right.
because
On,
I'm on the other end of that
all right.
argument of
Okay. Moving on. Do you believe it's about insurance costs rising or
this.
not
Well,
having access to insurance or
well, I think so. Going on that path, yeah, I think there's a long list of things that add up to that. I don't know that that affected this specific
yeah, yeah.
situation, but I think people are fed up with healthcare just over the years of it being
Agreed.
healthcare, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's it. Didn't shock me when I heard that story.
Yeah. Well,
Didn't just shrug my shoulders at it though either.
you can't coach crazy. So first of all, if
No,
someone's going to kill someone, they're going to justify it, rationalize it in whatever crazy ass fucking way that they're going to do that. That's just
just what it is. Yeah.
that's just is what it go back to Cain and Abel. Great. People will justify these things. But I would love to know the reason why, which of course we'll never know the reason why. But I would love to actually have some insight into, if this person had a manifesto and said, listen, I'm tired of insurance going up
Hmm.
13% every year or whatever the bid is.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think they detailed what he was. It was like a coverage thing. I don't know, something. But either way,
right.
just a
There's
shitty
no
situation.
justification for murder.
No, 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 no,
You
no.
want to throw eggs at the guy?
Throw eggs, throw a
Throw
pile.
eggs. You
Yeah.
know what? That washes off. All right, let me throw this one in somewhat related news. Hospitals are hiring nurse practitioners who are easy to train and cost less to employ than physicians to fill labor gaps. This approach, obviously, could pose safety risks for patients. This
Hmm.
was on Bloomberg.com, so you go take a look at that. So first things first, I'm happy for my friends that are nurse practitioners, but equally, I'm sad for our health and well-being as physicians have more time in the trenches and should be better than nurse practitioners. And I guess we'll find out over time how this plays out. But this is happening, whether or not we like it or not. They can't. There's just not enough practitioners. There's more nurse practitioners. They're going to train them up. So when we go to the doctor, our families go to the doctor, we should expect not to see a physician.
I don't think we always need to see a physician.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So I think there's time and place, right? It's kind of like urgent care. When urgent care became a thing, it's like, oh, well, now you're trying to push us away from the hospital. Well, yeah. Let's not overcrowd the ER
Right?
for minor things. And it's working
100%.
out pretty well.
Let me ask you a probative question. It says it's easier to train. Check, got that. Cost less. Do you believe and that's true, right? So do you believe that cost savings will be extended to the consumer?
No, 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 no,
Well,
I
you
don't.
used to be an optimist. What happened to you?
I hang out with you too much.
Fair statement. I could drag you to the darkness.
That's
Fair
how it
enough.
happens. All right. Our friends over at Daxter introduced a new solution, Daxter Engage.
That's
which
cool.
I'm loving.
Yeah.
I like this play, from how it got started to where it is now. But it's I haven't been to their site in a while, so I went
Mm.
to their site, and we love the people there. I love what Daxter does, and just kind of want to get your thought here. So, is Daxter all things to all things, right? And I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but are they all things to all things? So here's a list of products: Daxter Search Nexus, Daxter Capture, Daxter Magnet, Daxter Styler, Daxter Parser, Daxter Apply and Match,
They should
Daxter
probably get rid of all the Daxters and just call them
Developer
product
Components, and
names, but go ahead. Yep.
now Daxter Engage, right? So story, Daxter Engage, right? So this is a communications play,
Hmm.
right? This
Yep.
streamlines communications, multi-channel, not
Yep.
omni-channel, multi-channel across things like SMS, voice, video calls, etc. They integrate into all the ATSs,
Yeah.
CRMs, HRS platforms. But yeah, that's what stuck out to me as I'm looking at the products. Like, that's a lot of products. How do people know what they do and when to engage?
Well, it's a land and expand. Daxter
Yeah,
is known for being a parser,
right.
so that's where you start. But I mean, they're one of the best, if not the best in the world at that business. And so you start with that product, and then you move to the other products that make sense for the customers. And
And they've
I
got
mean,
a winning
Terry,
team there as well.
yeah, Terry Baker. I don't. It's just like Doug Burke. Don't bet against him.
Yeah,
He'll make it
absolutely.
work one way or another. Who's brought in by private equity. It's going to work, but it's
Yeah,
it's going to be based on the customers. Each customer is going to want something a little bit different. Like
yeah,
I doubt that a customer will buy all of those products,
right. Well, and
which is
they
fine.
probably wouldn't need to. They
Exactly. They
probably
probably
wouldn't need
wouldn't
to.
need
Yeah,
to.
yeah. And we just spoke with Doug Berg, doing exciting things. So we'll have to talk about him next week. So
That's
there you
right.
go.
That's right. Ryan, the Trump administration has plans to limit the National Labor Relations Board, what we commonly refer to as NLRB, and its ability to protect unions. More than 24 corporations are pursuing legal action against the agency that protects labor organizing as Trump weighs challenging its legal structure. This is the important part. Firing Democratic board members. So
Yeah.
So this is one of those bits. So this is on WashingtonPost.com. You can read more about it. So the NLRB flows with the political winds,
Hmm.
and that's always been that way.
Always that way. Yep.
This is different. This is actually taking it a step further because it's usually 9 and there's 5 and 4, and so if it's a Republican, then you have 5 and you have 4 Democrats, and so it's kind of balanced ish. This is not that.
A dismantling of the system.
This is dismantling. This is, yes, there will be an NLRB. It'll be a shell
Yeah.
of its formal self.
Yeah. It'll be a storefront in the strip mall that you walk by and ask
100%. Y'all
questions.
sell
Yeah.
phones? No shit.
Do
But
you have
you
the
and
one
I,
that flips? Can I touch the screen?
what was that one that did flip and it had the little cord that
That was
popped out?
the
It was a fancy
was it
phone, like
wasn't
Star.
Nokia?
Yeah, it was
Was it
like Star
Nokia?
Trek.
Yeah.
Um, so you and I probably, I went back and looked at it. You and I have talked about unionization
Oh,
14 times.
yeah. I would say about a dozen. Yeah, 14. Okay.
14 times since we started the BARF. And
Yeah.
and again, the times in different ways and all that other
Hmm.
stuff. I think we're going to be talking about unionization a lot
A lot.
next year, but it's going to be in the form of dismantling.
Yeah, that's
So,
interesting. That's interesting.
dude, when I read
I don't
the
think unions will ever be dismantled.
no, no,
There's
no, no,
no.
you're just going to make it harder for them to unionize. So,
Yeah.
like the folks
For
that are
4 years.
already
After the 4 years, it'll come back.
well, yes, one would assume.
Yeah.
But dude, I've never seen something so outrageous as firing Democratic board members.
Yeah.
Like since the NLRB has been around, it's
Yeah.
been politicized, like a lot of the things are, FCC, etc., EEOC. They're all politicized. but
Yeah.
I've never seen like, okay, those people, yeah,
Yeah.
we're just going to fire them. We
It's
care
supposed to be
less.
for the people. Let it be
Oh,
for the
yeah,
people.
and we're going to put 9 people on here that want to dismantle unions. Okay.
Yeah. You know what? Checks and balances.
Yeah.
Bad shit ain't gonna happen.
No,
You ready to talk some acquisitions?
I am.
All right. I'm gonna mispronounce this. I'm gonna say Zuve. It might be Vuve. I don't know.
Do you?
Zuve.
Do you?
Zoove acquires Netherlands-based recruitment marketing firm Online Results. So Zuvi is a European company that develops and sells software into the staffing agencies.
Cool.
And this is a company that's been built through so they've got several companies, Landwehr, it's WEHR, Landwehr, RHB, ProSoft, and Back Office. They're building the system, and they have offerings like payroll, salary, financial accounting, things like that. And so this is the type of company it is, and they just made their next acquisition.
Good pickup. Good pick.
Congrats
I
to
think
them.
that's pronounced Landwe HR. But
That is awful. You are probably very correct.
dude, there's 3 words. And we
We
HR.
HR. Yeah. How do we get to the next topic here? That's pretty fun.
Isn't that funny?
That's amazing.
Accenture acquired Award Solutions, a provider of training and consulting services in the advanced wireless technologies, 5G, Internet of Things, cloud-based solutions. All right. Terms weren't disclosed as they normally are. This is on Accenture.com in their press room, so you can find it there. So this is a win for skills-based training because that's actually what Award Solutions is known for is training. And so this is actually an acquisition for Accenture because they could, obviously they could build or buy that skills-based training for that particular segment of the market, or
Yeah.
they could buy it, and they decided to buy it. So I think it's good for their customers and it's good for everybody involved.
Yeah.
So
Good for them.
congrats, skills-based.
There you go. All right. ProProfs acquires People Goal, sorry,
Hmm.
which is a performance management software company. So this is about leveling up for me. This is going to add tools like automated performance reviews, 360 feedback, et cetera, et cetera. So this is really about helping their customers really focus on engagement and building high performance teams. And we talk about engagement all the time. So I've been tracking tools with engagement and benefits and things like that, and I think this is a good play, especially for customers that are struggling in this area to get people to engage and take part in what they're doing.
Yeah, I love it. And you can see obviously the future of all of that stuff is AI driven, right? So less of me sitting down with you and talking about performance and more about
Yeah.
kind of an ongoing conversation with AI about performance.
Yeah, I think it's time. It's probably time to move on. I know that's not very popular right now. I think there's a time and place for a human in that process, and I think that's
Ish.
during the 365 days I'm fucking working with you,
Yeah, turns
right?
out. Turns
Let
out.
all that work we're doing be assessed and there because I mean, look, here my gripe with performance reviews has always been you have an opinion of me,
Yes.
regardless. I can be a stud performer. You have an opinion of me. So my performance is fantastic, but you have to be completely unbiased
Right.
in that performance
No such
review of
thing.
me. And you're not because
No such
you're,
thing.
yeah. So
I'm a human
it's,
being. Of
yeah,
course I'm going to be biased. And
let
I'm
the
also
system
thinking
do it.
about how much it's going to cost me,
Sure.
because finance is giving me a number or HR is giving me a number
Right.
and you're, 1 to
Yeah.
3%. And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking about that too, as well as my
Yeah.
biases.
Yeah. Hey, look, I only have 300K to work with in raises for my department.
Right.
How do I structure this? Right.
That's right.
It really shouldn't be your decision. I believe that. I don't think it should be your decision as a human. It should be what have I done over the course of the year?
I don't disagree.
What does the computer tell me, right? What does the system tell us? And our feedback comes day in and day out as we're working
I
together.
hope AI actually fixes that. To
I
to
think it
what
will.
you're saying, I actually hope that happens.
So There you go. Give me
There
the
you go.
credit.
Adzuna, the global job search engine, today announced the acquisition of CISA. That is SEIZA, a market leader in social media recruitment advertising.
Mm.
So CISA.co, if you want to go there and read more about them and the acquisition, please do. It's a complementary acquisition for Adzuna, and it's a solid acquisition in the sense of it's going to help Adzuma's customers do what they do already with them, but also be able to do social media recruitment advertising. So, like, that's a
Yeah.
win-win. So,
Win-win.
customers win.
There you go. All right, final one we have on acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Beamery, not
Mm-hmm.
acquisition. I'll just start by that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beamery completes Workday certified integration for Workday Skills Cloud. So I put this in here because my spidey sense says I'm smelling a future acquisition here. They've done a ton of work in Workday. Workday has a history of acquiring companies, obviously, that align with its strategic goals, a la Hired Score and Ebisort this year alone. And so I feel like Beamery's in that space now where they're taking that step, building specifically into Workday, and that's what they're banking on there.
Yeah.
Could be very wrong.
No, no, no. I don't think you're wrong. Workday put, I want to say 5 million. But we'll have some fact checking
Yeah, I
on
think it was
that
five. Yeah.
early on. So they're
Hmm.
on their cap table
Yeah.
early on. And again, it lays on top of CRM. I like Beamery in the sense of they've built their own large language model. It's about 4 years old, so it's got great data.
Yeah.
So it's good. I think it's good for Workday's customers, and in the sense of their recruiting, their hiring managers, their candidates, all of that stuff. So I think it's good. I hope they acquire them,
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
for
They've
the
been in the
exit of
business.
Beamery,
Yeah, they've been in the business long enough. They've done a good job.
which I believe Beamery has a new CMO.
They do. They just, I believe it was this week or the week before or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
right. So anyhow, congratulations to them.
Yeah. Good job, guys.
All right, Ryan, we are on the R of the BARF research. Let me run this one past. 50% U.S. employees are thriving in their overall lives, according to Gallup's latest updated workplace well-being indicator. This is a record low since Gallup began measuring workers' well-being in 2009. Gallup.com is the source, so you can go there. Half, 50%. Whenever I say half, I think of Eddie
Yeah.
Murphy. Half, Eddie, I want half. So it's a huge number, actually,
That is.
that that thinks that they're thriving, right?
Yeah. Well,
So,
let's put that into fifth grade perspective.
mm-hmm,
For every two employees,
yep,
one of them
that's right.
not good.
So the graphics on this are absolutely cool. So go and look at it, because then they have, out of 100%, 50% we already talked about, 45% are struggling, and 5% is suffering.
How do they define struggling? Like,
It's in the report. It's in the report. The delineation between thriving, struggling, and suffering is
yeah,
well documented
I
from a
think
Gallup
those
perspective.
numbers for me. I mean, not that
Terrifying.
I'm any fucking expert here, but I think suffering is more. I don't think people want to admit that they're suffering.
I can see that. That
Yeah,
tracks. That
I
tracks.
think that can come up a little bit. And the people that are struggling, I don't think they're hiding that they're suffering. I think they're
Right.
trying to be positive,
So what's in between thriving and struggling in
getting
your mind?
by.
Right.
Yeah,
Just eh,
yeah.
meh.
You can
You know,
probably
it's
add another, you can
right there in
probably say
between.
like 25% getting by, you know,
Right.
30%, 20% struggling, and the remainder, you know,
But to Gallup's credit, those definitions are well structured. Thriving, struggling, and suffering. Those are well structured. So go take a look at the graphics. because it is, well, I think 50%, as you said, one of two. The other 50%, they're not just not thriving.
Yeah. 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 And I
They're
I
on the
wanted to
deep, they're in the
illustrate.
deep end of the pool, man.
Yeah, and I'll clarify my illustration of fifth grade because if you say 10,000 employees,
Right.
5,000, okay, but if you say two, one,
Yeah.
one,
Huh.
that's
That's a
wrong
different
finger.
bit.
It's a different bit. Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty significant. All right.
Line 10 people up against the wall. Five of them are thriving. Cool. Y'all go to the left, go get you some Cokes. Four of them are struggling.
Yeah.
And okay, y'all need a break. And then five of those employees are, excuse me, one of those
Or
employees
so, yeah. Your
are,
math was that was
yeah,
yeah,
suffering.
yeah.
And so like that's
It's a lot. Yeah.
heartbreaking.
All right.
What you got?
We've got the State of High Volume Hiring
Hmm.
2025 Benchmarks Report launched by our friends over at Phenom. So, this report, which we'll have a link somewhere, I'm sure, for all these, the report looks at 101 companies on their maturity and use of AI and automation to hire frontline hourly, seasonal, and high turnover roles
Good time for it.
across a number of verticals, so retail, hospitality, travel, healthcare, pharma, manufacturing, transportation, distribution. That's a really interesting report. But here's some numbers I'll throw at you.
All right, what you got?
65% of companies have high volume hiring needs. 45%, this is from the report, obviously, or only 45% of the organizations find that their current high volume hiring is effective.
Interesting.
94% of recruiters see high volume hiring software as essential.
Yeah,
So
gotta have the tools. I
you
mean,
got to, yeah, you
how else
got
are
to
you gonna
have
get
the
those tools if you
tools.
don't have the tools?
Yeah, you got to have the tools to get it done. Now, obviously, it's from Phenom, right? So you need high volume. Okay, get it. But what are the high volume hiring tools? It's not just job boards, it's not just career sites, it's not just text messaging and
It better be mobile friendly. That's
yeah,
if you're
yeah.
going after that talent.
Yeah, I think this needs a lot more digging and conversation there. But I think in 25 with and I think we've talked about it, with the trades are coming back, a lot of frontline is coming
Mm,
back and or not hasn't gone away. It's increasing. It's increasingly becoming more.
I can't wait to see home building on the rise. We have such an inventory crush here in
Yeah.
the
Same.
Metroplex, and it's just like how which will affect house price. But there's so
Yeah.
much inventory that's needed.
Yeah.
And, like there's a development on the way to Oak Ridge, on the way to Van School. There's a development that started pre-COVID. So
No, we
late 19 started, and they
yeah.
haven't developed the houses because of the cost going
Yeah,
through the
we
roof.
have a couple of individual houses that were being built. I'm sure they're done by developers, but yeah, they have the outside sheathing on, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
been that way for years. And
yep.
nice houses, like
Oh
really
yeah,
nice, and they
oh
just
yeah.
can't afford to
No,
do
the
it.
cost of materials, cost of
Yeah,
labor. I can't wait to see those metrics go up.
yeah,
Like to actually
in
see
time.
more building. I just can't wait to see that because then you know that things are getting back to a more of
Yeah,
a normal state.
yeah. All right.
Ryan, DEI is becoming less popular with U.S. workers. This is actually interesting. Amid growing anti-DEI efforts, a new Pew Research Center survey indicates that employees also feel less positivity about diversity efforts at work. Now, Pew Research is relatively conservative, so let's just put that in the background. This was on fastcompany.com. Take a look at that. I think this is our new normal. I think so much of right now is just about survival. And I could be wrong at this. I'm probably wrong at this. But I care, this is me speaking. I care about others thriving and getting chances, but I care more about my own situation. which is, that's not the way to live. I get it. However, I think that's why I think that the sentiment is going down is people are just, they're retrenching and they're going back and saying, yeah, you know what? I care about all of the people that are marginalized. Check. I got it. But right now I'm just trying to stay afloat. And so I think that I hope I'm wrong. And so in that line of thought, if I'm tracking, if I have that right, I think that people are thinking of DEI programs as luxuries, not necessities. And much of what we heard through the pandemic was that we have to do this. It is morally correct. It is ethically correct. It is just a good thing to do for the business. Everything. All the reasons were in the direction of yes, you should do this. And now that we're here, I think what people are saying is more. Yeah, great, all that stuff, cool. Keep doing it, but I still want my job. I care more about me than I care about that.
Yeah.
Now, does that track? I mean, am I way off?
No, I think I mean, people have to survive, right? And so it's kind of like, well, I dropped the candy wrapper on the ground. I didn't pick it up. Okay, there's got to be 14 trillion other candy wrappers that need to fall in order to have an effect. Or are 14 trillion people picking up their candy wrapper? No,
Have I
I'm
ever
just
told you my bit on littering?
no, but I'm guessing you're going to tell me now.
I'm pro littering because I believe it creates employment. So someone's got
Jesus
to pick that
God,
shit up.
God,
So so I am a serial litterer in the sense of like, you know what? That's what we have jails for. We got people that are going to go out and clean up trash.
wow.
So so some of
Okay.
that I say in jest. Some of it I don't. Like I'll throw shit out the window. Like, all right, and
Man.
no, because you know what? Someone's got to pick that shit up. And it could be a nonprofit, it could be scouts, it could be the Girl Scouts, it could be anybody, it could be prison workers or prisoners, etc. I don't give a
Or we
shit.
could just keep the earth clean.
Yeah, good luck with that.
All right.
Did that hurt? Did that
Next
hurt?
topic.
Did that
Next
hurt?
subject.
It's gonna get me in your head the next time you're driving.
God. McLean and Company. McLean and Company. Let's get on to these guys. They identify key HR trends for 2025,
Okay.
right? Because why not?
Ooh.
Trend reports are starting to fly. This is
Yeah.
it.
Time
So
of
they've
year.
released a report that highlights priorities for HR in 2025, which focused on evolving leadership skills, improving data proficiency, and addressing workforce well-being amid all of the economic pressures. So,
Right.
three key things that I pulled out of here. Uh, don't necessarily have a lot of thoughts on this one today, but it just, I did when I read it, not now that we're littering. Uh, Leadership skills. So
It's gonna be in your
most
head, dude.
leaders, it
Just
is
is.
most leaders at 73% think they need to improve their skills to handle the future of work. I like that.
Who doesn't? I mean, that's 27%, right? Who doesn't think they need to improve? I want to meet those dudes.
That 27% of
Yeah.
people that are going to fail their companies.
Okay. Okay. You're probably right. Actually, you're probably
Yeah,
right on that. That's just
yeah,
like
yeah,
they've
uh,
given up. They're retiring. Got it.
yeah, yeah. So using better data. So
Mm,
there's only a small number of HR teams. It was 29% that said they're good at making decisions based on data. So most companies
it's
have the
inflated.
data or have some data or a form of data, but they're still relying on themselves and conversations in their gut to make their um, decisions, which is why number one exists in leadership skills. But the 27% of people that don't think they need better leadership skills is probably the 29% in two. And then the economic challenges with obviously with the economy being shaken, 70% of people think it's the biggest risk to keeping workers happy and healthy. So those are the three trends Well, not the three.
Yeah,
There were more. Those are the three that I picked out of the report. But check it out. It's at McLean and Company. You can check it out. You just go to their website. You'll find it.
love
Pretty
it.
basic.
All right, two research stories left. Keeping pace with evolving technology trends and employee needs, 75% of people leaders struggle to meet employees' needs and evolving business objectives with their HR strategy. This was on a company called Aconso. So ACONSO.com. This tracks, so first of all, 75% tracks for me. It's a high number, but it tracks for me. And what I see in 75% is burnout and retirement because it's not a winnable game. And I think that's heartbreaking because we got a lot of friends in HR and HR leadership, and everything's moving beneath their feet. The expectations are going through the roof, and it's not fun. And I think the job itself, whether or not chief people officer, chief human resource officer, whatever you want to call it, the person that manages talent, chief talent officer, if you will, the game's got to be fun on some level. HR historically has not rewarded experimentation. They
No.
have to get it right. And the problem with that is because there's so much change, they can't get it right because there's no such thing as right. There's right now, but there is no right. There's no wrong. There's no right.
Hmm.
And so I think, like marketers, the beauty of marketing is and sales. You can just throw shit against the wall. If it doesn't work, all right, change it.
Yeah. I think I think this is you're going to start to see this more though.
Yeah,
I think
I know.
historically HR was HR, right? It
Right,
was a personnel department. You went there for a
right,
reason, and that was it. It was like a lawyer. You don't want
right.
your lawyer coming in and being fucking
You
goofy.
don't want to talk to these people.
No, yeah, you don't want your doctor to come in and be a goofball, right? Like, you want them to come in, be stark, like,
Flip
hey, look,
flops.
yeah, like, yeah, you want them to be the position, right? It's not like a marketer
Right.
who's like, yeah, all right, put green here and red here, like, yeah. But now I think that changes. I think now the way society is now and the way workplace is now, I think that changes. I think HR has become more creative.
They have to.
They have to be to keep the employees because HR is no longer just about pushing paper and process, right? It's about people, right? There's a whole other half of that. So I don't think compliance isn't going to get creative, and they probably shouldn't,
It should.
but
No,
the
it's
other half can, and I think that's where we're going to see this
now,
kick in.
which I agree with you, by the way. That begs the question, do those leaders have creative abilities?
I
Or,
think so.
or, will the rest of the leadership team allow them to fail? Because
I think so.
creativity
I,
does.
I think they have the creativity. I think they've never been able to use it,
Okay,
and those that don't are going to get pushed out anyhow.
there
So
you
it's
go.
just,
You're
yeah, times are changing, baby.
pushed out. You're right. I just wouldn't have used that term.
There
All
you
right,
are.
so let me run this one past you, and this is the last one for research. 93% of Gen Z workers use at least two AI tools a week, according to new research from Google Workspace, which is cool, and the Harris Poll. So you can find this research on Google Cloud PressCorner.com. So this is based on a survey of over 1,000 U.S. based knowledge workers ages 22 to 39
Hmm.
currently hold or aspire to leadership positions at work, young leaders. There's no, there are so many good stats. I mean, when looking at this report, this is just one that I pulled out. Go and look at this research because it is really, really good. Another stat that stuck out to me is that 87% of respondents believe that AI can make them more comfortable composing lengthy emails on their phones. The reason that stuck out with me for me is Gen Z hates email, and if it can help them get over that hump of hating email to then using email, it'll help the rest of the organization.
I think they secretly like email.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I know. Mine, they Yeah, yeah. What I don't want to get to though is, and is this is the boomer in me, right? It's don't want AI generated emails all of the time because even
Yeah.
if you can't tell, like I want to know that I'm communicating with my coworker.
Well, I have to correct Grammarly pretty much everything I compose on every wherever it is because it takes my voice out. It corrects it
Well,
to what it
well,
should be, but
yeah.
it dampens my voice. And I'm like,
Let's
yeah, fuck that
restate
shit.
that.
No,
You're
no,
not correcting Grammarly. Grammarly is correcting you. You're bringing it
100%.
back and making it stupider.
I've never said ducking in my entire life and never will outside
Yeah.
of this
This is where
conversation.
stupider becomes a word. You're
Uh,
making Grammarly stupider.
don't
Thank
take
you.
my voice. Don't take my voice away from me.
All right, man. Let's talk some money. We
Dollar
got
dollar
some
bills.
funding. Yeah, we got
Yeah,
some
get it.
funding here. So, all right, Blue Spine raises 7.2 million in seed funding. This is a cool
Mm,
play for me. This is AI managing the claims process to prevent overbilling and ensure that the negotiated rates are actually paid. Right. So this is like, you know, coding errors from
mm,
humans or
yeah,
machines, doesn't matter. Or, you're at the office like, oh, well, negotiated rate is $25 and we're going to bill 65 because we can, and they never check. So, case study that they ran with a client. So they ran through 130,000 claims. 130,000 claims were
it's a lot of
analyzed.
claims.
So total value was $43 million in total value and 4.9 million in coding errors were found.
10%
Yeah, roughly
ish.
9%, 10%, $9 million or 4.9, sorry, in coding errors that would have not been found before. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
10%. 10 per,
Yeah.
and again, I think you're spot on. No one goes back and looks at those things.
No.
No one
No.
goes back and looks at how much was actually charged. So I love this software play. I'm with you.
Yeah. I want to use it for me for no reason.
Soda Health, SODA Health, closes an oversubscribed 50 million Series B to scale its smart benefits operating system.
Mm.
So this is at sodahealth.com. You can kind of look them up. Basically, what Soda Health does, it does a lot of things. It's benefits optimization.
Okay.
So it goes into all your benefits and looks at consumption. It looks at what got used. So it's looking backwards and it helps you then prescribe what needs to happen next year based on what happened in the previous, quarter, year, whatever the bid is, based on age group, based on all the data that they have. Here's the here's the benefits that you should subscribe to. Also, here's the benefits that you have employees, use them. So it also does that as well. Anyhow, raise 50 million, good for
Love
them.
it.
I love the play. Anything to get more out of the benefits we already have,
Yeah.
check.
And we're seeing a lot of this now. A
Mhm.
lot of these types of plays now because you always said benefit's not a benefit, right? Unless it's used and I look back to when I had corporate coverage. I didn't know what the hell. Like if I went to the doctor, I was lucky,
Yeah,
but I still paid for it,
right.
and I didn't know. Where I'm like,
You
oh,
had a
yeah, I can
card in
go
your
to the
wallet.
gym. Yeah, I can go to the gym and get reimbursed. But outside of that, I've got no clue.
I
Anyhow,
do believe that actually AI will help that. I do believe, with whether or
oh
not
yeah,
that's
oh, I agree
Soda
too.
or somebody else, this little, like you said, this little agent that's running right along with you
Mm-hmm.
is basically saying, "Hey, you kind of seem a little bit down. You have an EAP for mental health, right?
Right.
Here's the link. I'll
Yeah.
schedule an appointment, whatever the bid is."
So, all right, another one. I'm gonna mispronounce these guys. Socium, SOCIUM. Well, they raised 5 million in a seed round.
Hmm.
This is a French company. This is an HRIS, right? So nothing off the wall crazy. young company. They have 100 plus company user companies. They're in 15 countries. 1,000 employees are managed under their software. It's a young startup, very crowded in this world. So I'm curious to see like really what they're doing different to come in. It's kind of like building another ATS. I mean, it's always a need for it, I guess. But
Well, HR in France and Germany are it's almost impossible. So even if they just fix and they do it in France and Germany,
right,
they'll be winning. They'll be
yeah.
acquired.
So there you go.
Good for them.
Congrats.
Ryan, in Mexico's tense job market, Minu, M, they take on employee benefits, including financial wellness, by raising 30 million in new funding. So it's on TechCrunch actually. So you go to TechCrunch and put in menu, MINU, and I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, of course.
Maybe.
But my take on this is I love this because when you think of Mexico, and of course I'm a Texan, so this could be different for people different in different parts of the country. But when I think of Mexico, I don't think of mental health, financial wellness, or physical wellness. No hate. But from an HR perspective, Central and South America are laggards,
Right.
in my humble opinion. And if somebody disagrees with that or thinks I'm being racist or some shit like that, prove me wrong. Like show me somewhere in Central and South America where not just where we are in the U.S., but beyond where we are.
Right.
And I don't think it exists. So
Yeah.
I like this play. I love that they're. First of all, I was shocked when I came across the story. I'm like, what? Like, is that New Mexico? No, it's
No.
actually Mexico proper. So good for
Yeah.
them. Good for their customers.
There you go. All right. So I threw this one in because I had some questions about it.
All right, bring it.
I like the play. It's like physical therapy. It's remote healthcare, physical therapy at a lower cost, right? So you can go on, you have your physical therapist, interactive assessment, low cost, $150 a month a user type thing. The company's called Include Health, and they just did a Series C raise of 5 million.
That's a low number for Series C.
And that's why I included it, right? I mean, look, you can look at it a couple different ways, but Series C 5, I mean, why? Like why only 5 million? I don't think there's a lot of push there. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. It's somebody's dream,
Yeah, of course.
but but yeah, why 5 million, right? I mean, all the limitations there are
That's
pretty crazy.
usually in the 40, 30, 40, $50 million
100
range.
million, yeah, it's up
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So 5 million, that could be an aggressive way to kind of keep your cap table. You know, basically you
I
do another
guess.
round of funding, but you don't give away a lot of your equity. So it
Yeah.
could
Well,
be
then you're
that.
then
Or
you're messing with a Series D,
right.
right? And
That's
your
right.
valuations and all that BS.
That's right.
Yeah, it's interesting, but
I
I
like
like the
I like
play.
I do too. I love remote healthcare.
Yeah, I like the
I
play. So
actually use it. I use Doxy, DOXY.me for my pharmacologist, and I love it. Like I get
yeah.
see him, and we go through stuff, and
Hmm.
it's easy. Shit.
Nice. Well, there we go.
Stretch Dollar raises 6 million to fix benefits for small businesses.
Hmm.
I know you're going to like this one. So that's Stretch Dollar, as you would spell it, com. So you can go into their press center, see all that bit. A much needed solution for a group that isn't targeted as much by work tech. As we've talked about several times, most work tech, they go to the enterprise, biggest companies, largest companies, etc. So I see a lot of partnerships in their future. I don't know if they have to go to direct. In fact, I'd probably advise them not to go to direct. And I think, again, almost everybody that targets the SMB, like Xerox or, ADP, you know, the SBA, Chamber of Commerce, anybody that's already interacting with that world is now a partner. or could be a partner. So I love this. So stretch dollar, 6 million. Congratulations to them. But
Nice.
more importantly, congratulations for the target market that they're going after.
Yeah. Yeah. SMBs are well underserved, and I like the name too. I
Yeah,
like the name.
I think that'll actually resonate with the buyers, the owners
Yeah.
typically. Yeah,
Stretch that dollar, baby.
get it?
All right. Coach Hub is my final funding for today.
Hmm.
Coach Hub secured 40 million growth financing a facility. So Coach Hub, which you know, is a digital coaching platform. They received the funding from HSBC in the UK.
Yeah,
Right? Is that right?
that's true.
Yeah. Um, so I've we talked about these guys
Uh-huh.
6 months ago or so,
Right.
but and I liked them ever since. I got to clear my throat. I got a little frog today. I've liked them ever since. Actually, a couple years back, we were at HR Tech, and it was just all learning.
Yeah.
Like anywhere you looked was learning, learning, learning. And ever since then, I've kind of been partially fascinated with it. But now with AI and the ability to do things with coaching, I've kind of fallen in love with the industry, which is why I've included it here.
Well, and I read the similar
Hmm.
article on them. Love coaching, especially coaching with intent to develop skills. So to give the audience a little bit of background, they've got currently 3,500 certified business coaches in 90 countries offering coaching sessions in over 80 languages to more than 1,000 enterprise clients
It's a lot.
across 6 continents. And for those keeping track at home, total funding for Coach Hub is now 330 million. But like just the numbers, what I just spit to you, like, okay, that's legit, man.
Yeah.
That's covering the world. So I love it. I love the play. And again, I like coaching in general,
Yeah.
coaching tech in general.
Yeah.
So good congratulations to them.
So you don't take coaching. You like the
Fuck no, I
tech.
would never be coached. I'm uncoachable. I
Yeah.
like others to be coached. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
There you
Like
go.
I need other people to be coached up, but yeah, I could. I don't have a mentor. I don't have a coach. I don't. Fuck it. So Talentium, Talentum, Talent, talent,
Talentium.
talentum. Anyhow, from Sweden. So fuck knows how it's actually pronounced. They secured 3.5
No,
million.
Talentium.
Talentium. Oh, good
It's like
job.
Talenio, but Talentium.
Oh man, I mean, my heart. Anyhow, 3.5 million in euros to revolutionize recruitment with AI powered platform. This is on founderstoday.news. Much of what I love, okay, so why I included this, you know, throw a dart and you can find a recruiting solution. But what I like about this particular play, outside of the name being hard for me to pronounce, is much of the solution is prompt based. So it's the open AI, it's ChatGPT, it's Gemini. It's thinking of like its interface. It's not the standard interfaces that you and I have dealt with for
Right.
100 years. And so I like that part of it. It's like, okay, so we're making it might do some of the same things that we see other tools do,
Hmm.
but the interface, the way it interfaces with the candidate or with the
Right.
hiring manager or the recruiter, that interface is different.
Right. Which
So
I
anyhow,
think makes a significant difference
I do
in
too.
adoption later today and in the next couple of
I
years.
think the more we use ChatGPT and tools like that, the more we're going to want that in the other parts of our lives.
I don't use Google. I have not used Google. It's probably been a couple of months.
Yeah,
I
well, of
just haven't.
course,
It's just not interesting to me anymore.
there's no need to.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Telenium,
There you go.
congratulations, 3.5 million in euros. Boom.
And we're done. There we go. So thank you all so much for listening. We really appreciate it.
100%.
Like us, subscribe, review us if you could. And we will see you next time.